Before I get started on the presentation today, if you can go to this website, we're going to have a little bit of fun by using polling technology. And the fun part about this is it's totally anonymous. It's going to ask for your name and email. You don't have to fill that out. Just bypass it if you want. And put down, go to this website address. The session ID is YJT Solutions, and then click Join. So is there anybody who's having problems finding that? Because this will be more fun if we get the group going on this.
I even got in, so it's a low run.
Okay. All right, well, I do want to truly thank Frank and David for inviting me to come talk to you today about this subject that I have dedicated my career to. IT operational readiness is not necessarily the most exciting topic. I think cybersecurity is a lot sexier than IT operational readiness. So,
Sure, still logging in.
Sure. Yeah, who needs a little more time?
It's case sensitive.
Yeah.
Couldn't come up with a harder.
And that was such a great presentation about cybersecurity, something that we're living every day and every night. So it's a great lead-in to what I'm going to talk about today. More time?
Yes.
Seen a few people, sure. Well, let me talk about FEI while we're waiting. As a business owner, I'm a member of a number of organizations, and I just have to say that I truly believe FEI is something special. We're all over town, we're part of different organizations, and I have seen FEI members step up and help one another. I've seen the engagement and the interaction, and not talking about me here, but true, the programming that you put together, Frank, and David, it's just top tier. So I know we're here, and for anyone who's on the fence about joining, this is a great place to be.
Here, here.
All right, who needs more time? We good?
Yep.
All right, so as I was saying, IT operational readiness is really not that exciting of a topic, and I think this might be what you're feeling, right? When I say IT operational readiness, and you think about all the things that encompass that. It is my great desire to change that for you today. When you walk out of this room, I want you to think about IT operational readiness as a completely different emotion. It's a possibility. It's a possibility for you, for your company, for your future. So that's my objective. It's a tall order, but we're going to wake that guy up. Before we get into anything about IT operational readiness, this is just a warm-up for the crowd and a way for us to see if we can use the technology. But go ahead and, hang on. Okay, so I have a technology company. And nothing like yeah, exactly. This is okay. Do you see something on your phones now?
All right.
All right. Yay, recovered. Thank you, Libby. You can test 100 times and you know when you get up here, right? Okay, so Cubs or Sox fans, let's vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any guesses? 5 of you are very indecisive. All right, let's do another one. What industry do you work in? Responses are coming in. 23, 24, 25, somebody just voted, 27. It's like popcorn. When is it done? All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go. This is where it shakes out today. So, lot in technology, that's interesting. We've got manufacturing, distribution, huge changes going on there. The legal, professional services, big changes. Okay, let's do another one. I have typed term papers on a typewriter.
Age discrimination.
Well, my mom did.
Well, that doesn't count.
Better if your girlfriend did.
All right, here we go. This is an incredible time to be on the planet. Look at that. Since there will probably never be a time in history, you know, if you would have done this 20 years ago and you do this 20 years forward, right, we are living during this time. We are living during the IT transformational age. Anyway, I digress, we'll keep going. One more. I am responsible in my company for technology innovation. Ready? Okay, this is another thing I'm going to do today. I'm going to change this perception. Because I want to make the argument that you are, as leaders, responsible for making sure this is going on in your company. All right, so let's get started. I want to first talk about what IT operational readiness even is. But before we talk about IT operational readiness, I want to talk about just operational readiness in general. Forget technology. Just think about what does it mean to have something that is operationally ready, right? How many of you have ever built a house or been through the process of building a house? Is anyone that crazy? Okay. So if you think about the definition, operational readiness is the process of preparing the custodians of an asset, right? You're the caretakers of this asset, and it's under construction, and it's everybody who's in the organization that's going to use that asset, such that at the point of delivery, all these people are ready to assume ownership, right? So you're building a house, you're building it, you're going through all the processes, you're figuring out what to do so that your family can create memories there, so that you can raise a family, so that you can have a joyful marriage, right? It's these wonderful things that are going to happen inside the house that you are hoping to do, right? Such that at that point of delivery, you're ready. So let's think about that same analogy with IT, the word IT in it. What does that mean when you say IT operational readiness? It's the same thing as building a house, except that now you're building a foundation for your company, right? Now, it's the process of preparing the leaders of a growing organization, which every organization should be growing or changing, and all of your employees, so that's everybody in this room, such that at the point of this transformational technology idea, bam, you're ready to go. You've got it, and you're sailing, and you're off, and you're getting a competitive edge. Right? It's that such that piece, such that that idea comes in, and you're off and running. So, why does it matter? Right? why am I so gung-ho about this topic? If you think about building a skyscraper instead of a house, right, high IT operational readiness is required for innovation and scale. I know very little about actually construction, but I was talking with a construction guy this morning, and he was giving me, all kinds of terms to use, like caissons, caissons, and the rebar, and but I was saying how these things have to go up at exactly 90 degrees, right? Every one of them is 99. It's not 80 degrees and 95, and some of them are 20 feet apart, and some of them are 4 feet apart. That's exact. I mean, that's beautiful, right? Those are standards and structure, and then bam, the walls go on and they're off and running. So that IT operational readiness, that framework, that is required if you're going to innovate and scale. But please, do not go do this if you're not going to go innovate and scale. You know what a great example of that is? The Spire hole, right? They did all this work, they spent all this money, they did all this stuff, and we've got a big flipping hole in the ground, right? And I've watched companies, we are an IT operational readiness company, right? This is what we do. And I've watched companies spend money and do all this. It's like, go. Get that creative idea and let's go. Let's find new avenues for distribution channels globally. Let's do these things, right? You have to have a mindset of innovation and scale to make this pay off. But you can't do the innovation and scale without it, right? So the question is, are you going to fight for it, right? Are you going to do it? Does it matter? Does it matter in your business? Well, let's take a look at that. When I'm old, but when I first started, my very first job was with what is now Accenture, but it was back then, I'm this old, Arthur Andersen, the consulting division of Arthur Andersen. Some of you may remember that company. And I was, a newbie computer science grad, freshly minted, eager, ready to go. And my first assignment was doing a billing system at Marx Brothers Jewelers here in town. Does anybody know that company? And so I was programming the Marx Brothers Jewelers billing system. And what we did was on a Friday, we took their billing system offline. It was batch processing at night. We took it offline. We spent the weekend converting it. Sunday night came back up, and Monday, and all through the weekend, all the jewelry orders were handwritten, because people would walk into the stores, buy some jewelry, they'd handwrite it up, take their money, we check, right? And then Monday morning, all those orders got keyed in. It was considered a whopping success. I got a great review, everybody was happy. And I think about that now, and I think, can you imagine taking down a retailer for an entire weekend? I mean, it just wouldn't happen. So modern business today, and this goes back to that typewriter question, right? Think about the typewriter question. This is happening in our lifetimes. If you could stretch 2,000 years in the past and 2,000 years in the future, we were all born right now. Like, it's an incredible, it's like, have you seen Hamilton? I love Hamilton, but how lucky we are to be alive right now. Like, this is the time, if you're in business, this is the time to be born, right? If you want to be a patriot and create a new country, probably 1776 was the time to be born, but right now in business, that you're alive is just an incredible opportunity. So right now, we can suddenly, in the last 20 years, we can now transact with, ta-da, anyone in the world, anywhere in the world, any hour of the day, 24-hour period, instantly and for free. Like, that Marx Brothers jewelers, it's not even a contest, right? Not even a fair fight with what people can do today. So you've probably seen some of these slides, but I want you to really get this in your gut for your own company that you're working for, right? In 2015, the world's largest taxi company was I'm hearing different things. This is the typewriter people and the computer people. It was Uber. They own 0 taxis. Largest accommodation provider. You're catching on. Airbnb. Guess what? They don't own any real estate. We'll keep going. The largest phone companies, Skype and WeChat, they have 0 telco infrastructure. The world's most valuable retailer is Alibaba in 2015. Do you know they're Amazon in Asia? And they own nothing. No inventory. Most popular media owner, Facebook, again, they create nothing, you do. World's largest movie house, Netflix. But they own no cinemas. And then if you think about everything they're doing and how much this has changed in a couple of years, it's astounding. And the largest software vendors were Apple and Google, and they don't write software. Think about that. This is all technology. Now, one thing I just have to be clear on so that you don't think of my head's in the sand and measuring biggest anymore is, and you're all finance people, so I'm nervous to put this up because you're going to go, actually, well, I looked at their market cap and that was the second biggest. And so I'm telling you this is approximately correct. And if you can value, is it based on revenue or profit or market cap or, but if I take those same categories in 2017, just 2 years later, the world's largest transportation provider is now UPS. So, and Marriott did a bunch of mergers, and do you know what they did? They went after timeshares, and they went after apps, and they went after frequent stayers in a massive way. It was all with technology. And now they're bigger than Airbnb. The world's largest telecom companies are AT&T and Verizon, lots of changes going on there. Amazon now is, and again, you can go back and check my facts and figures, but my point is here, we'll just flip through this, that it's a crapshoot, but it's not luck. It's by design. These companies are saying, I am in the game, and it's all based on technology. Everything they're doing. It's all based on what they're doing with technology to move their businesses forward and overtake. It's a very exciting horse race. And some of them are brick and mortar, and some of them are total born in the cloud, but they all get in their gut the importance of technology. So scared myself. My firm belief is I have yet to see a company that's exempt from this phenomenon. I don't think there is a middle ground, right? I am paranoid every day about what we do in IT managed services going, we need to be thinking about AI, we need to be thinking about robots, we need to be thinking about the things that, I'm reading about this, going, what is managed services going to look like in 5 years? It literally keeps me up at, what is going to put me out of business in 5 years from today? What's going on with 3D printing? If you're distributing something, how can they just print that instantly for free in their house, right? What's going on there? How are you going to, there's so much going on, but the good news is, if you can get this figured out, you're making news, right? You're a superstar. You're the company that they're reading about. You know, this company was a $2 million company. Suddenly they're a $2 billion company. Those stories happen because technology is so scalable. You know, if anything comes out of this, I just want you to think about what is it that we sell? How do we make money? How could that scale using technology? All right, so now that I've given you the whole background about why this is important, now this is where it starts to get a little more boring, because we're going to talk through the rebar and the, you know, how far apart they are and all this stuff, but it matters, right? So I wanted to give you that framework, but get your phones out and we're going to take a poll for each question. And it's anonymous, right? I'm actually not a hacker. I'm not going to hack in and find out who's the person who said, you know, they're a one, and you know, it's going to be anonymous. But the reason we do it this way is I want you to see in the room really where you are relative to other people in the room. But the only way to do that is to be honest, right? So you're just going to cheat yourself if you're not honest. And we really want to have an honest poll of where the companies are. Do you know that Chicago is the home to the first skyscraper? So that's why I like to use the skyscraper analogy, because I also believe that we can be the company to invent and create and scale some phenomenal companies here. So let's see where we are. And the first one, what I'm going to do is talk through these, and then I'm going to open the polls. And then you can vote, and I'll give you a little story about each one. We're going to start with that boring word called standards, right? This is 20 feet apart, 20 feet apart, 20 feet apart, not, well, I felt like doing this, and then the CEO said they really like this next one 8 feet apart, and then the next one is 2 feet apart. This is how many feet apart are those items going, right? So this includes stuff like your hardware, right? Do you have the same type of wireless access point all throughout your office? Is everybody on the same version of Windows? Is everybody on the same version of Office? You have some people on Office 365 and other people still on Exchange, right? This is what are we doing consistently as an organization. So I will open up the polling here, and I'll tell you a little story about this. We had a company that, or have a company that's a nonprofit, and they have a very, very large group of people that come together on a weekly basis and need Wi-Fi, right? Which is why I was talking about wireless access points. And you know, nonprofits, money's so tight, and we can't afford to replace anything, and so. You know, in our company, we have standards about, you know, if we're going to take this on as a managed service and care for it 24/7, we need to be conforming, right? So we said it's all over the place. There's stuff that's, you know, 7 years old and stuff that's 3 years old and all different versions. And they said, well, we have no money to replace it, so we're just going to pay you by the hour to keep it up and running. We said, okay, like, thank you. And so this went along for a while, and they said, man, you know, it's really adding up the hours for you guys to come out and fix this. We went, yes. And we made this case that said, please, please, bite the bullet, replace these. Put them under a contract. We'll manage them 24/7. They did, and the operational cost went down. You're all fine as people. I don't know what the exact amount was, but it was far lower than what they had been paying before just to try to keep this stuff going. And we see this all the time, and the payback comes back over and over again. So, see where we are on this? Good. This is good. There's nobody who is a 1, which is fantastic, right? That means you all have standards that are defined. And one of the, I mean, and I'd say if you're a 4, that's good enough, right? For most businesses, you don't have to be a 5 on everything. Getting to 5 on everything is really expensive. So that is very well done. All right, let's go to the next one. How fail-proof is your infrastructure? So what I mean by this is, and I'm going to go back to my favorite example, which is Netflix on this one. Back in 2010, how did we all know Netflix? Like what kind of company were they?
They sent out DVDs.
Exactly, right? You and I both. We would mail in the DVDs, come back, I'd think, that's a great company, right? And I would watch my DVDs and send them all the movies you can consume in a month, and I thought that was so great. And I heard that, because I'm in IT, and I heard that they had this thing called Chaos Monkey. I thought, Chaos Monkey, right? You've heard of this. What is that, right? What is Chaos Monkey? Chaos Monkey was a program that their programmers designed to randomly, at any hour of the day, create chaos in their infrastructure. It would change an IP address. It would take down a router in production. Just bam, bam. And they did it, they programmed it so that they would just do anything to anything at any time and make sure that Netflix was still operational. And I thought to myself, why are they doing that? Like, this is over the top. Like, why would anybody deliberately damage their production system? And I remember reading that, and the light bulb did not go on until recently, when I realized what those forward-thinking leadership people were doing in 2010. What were they thinking about? Creating the world's largest online content streaming ever born. Right? So they had that idea back in 2010, and they were probably earlier, and they knew this is where the world was going, but they knew IT operational readiness. They knew they would not be able to ever get there if they didn't have this infrastructure that you could take a hatchet to and whack it, and it would keep on going. And everything was redundant, everything. You know, and now today, we just take it for granted. Oh, surf, yeah, I want a comedy. Okay, great, that one, boom, and it goes. We don't even think about the complexity of delivering that service around the world. You know, the amount, you talk about data, the amount of data is just mind-blowing. So let's vote. Are you ready to scale? Do you feel that you're at high risk? Do you have redundancy? Where is your company today? People are still voting. This is one of those things where redundancy doesn't always have to be expensive either. I mean, it's going to cost something, but there are new emerging technologies all the time that are coming out that are affordable for mid-sized businesses. You know, I sometimes we think that this stuff is only for the Netflixes of the world, and it's not, right? This is right at your fingertips. So, okay, so let's see where we are. 21 people voted. Some of you aren't voting. You gotta vote. Just pick a number. You don't have, and no one will know, but just take your best guess. All right, here we go. Okay, so spread across. That's interesting. So what is encouraging to me is that I often, when I do this, it's much more on this side. There are almost always people who are voting when. So this is encouraging. In fact, just by nature that you're here and interested in the topic probably also says you're coming from companies that are thoughtful about this whole subject. Okay, the next one is how tight is your ship? This is one where if I think about change control, help desk, processes, you know, over on the left, we've got, yeah, Bill does a good job, keeps everybody up and running, but we don't track stuff. Over on the right, we've got A+ service levels, right? People are gushing about your level of service. More than 80% of issues are resolved the very first time somebody reaches out. And everything, and I mean every issue, is tracked. Why is that so important? I think there are two reasons that this is important. While I talk about that, I'm going to move so that you can start to vote, and then I'm going to keep talking about number 5. Tracking every issue in a help desk is a cornerstone of IT operational readiness. Because if you don't know that it's happening, you can't detect patterns, you don't know that you don't know where root causes could be coming from. You don't know how to solve like underlying cancers in your organization, right? If something just keeps getting fixed. And the other thing that we'll see a lot is people just don't bother anymore, right? Oh, I just fixed that myself, or I'm just living with it. Think of the productivity loss of your employees if issues are not reported and then tracked and analyzed. That is how you get better. We do it with so many things across our organization, but we often, help desk is it gets very, very sloppy. Okay, either you guys are getting really tired, or every time, every question, we have fewer and fewer people voting. Are you guys voting? All right, here we go. Okay, pretty good spread. I'd say we're landing kind of in the middle on a lot of these topics, right? So it's not terrible, but you're not at the Netflix level yet. It's kind of somewhere in there. Okay, so let's do another one. This goes right to the topic from cybersecurity. Are you secure and compliant? If your customers are not already demanding this of you, they will be, right? This is where the world is going, and they don't, kind of like safe sex, I guess, but you don't want to be doing business with somebody who is, where your data could get onto their systems and, you would not be protected. So this is, it's another one of the, who asked about should you outsource it or do it in-house? Somebody over here for cybersecurity. Was that, okay. Of course, I'm back there in the corner going, outsource, outsource. This is what we do every day. But I do believe someone said, do you get 7 or 8 people? I think if you have 1 or 2 security people in your organization and their job is security, they should resign. I mean, I feel that strong. I mean, you could not pay me enough money to take a job as the security person in a company or 1 of 2, because it cannot be done, without support, right? Without, you can have 1 or 2 and then outsource the 24/7 nature of it and outsource other components of it, but it is too much, because you have to have a 24/7 response to these things. And if you don't have that kind of coverage, it just leaves you very vulnerable. So let's open polling. Are you talking about it? Do you have a committee? That's always the first step. We're going to put together a committee to make sure that we start dealing with compliance. Don't be on the committee. Or do you have true 24/7 detection and you have policies followed? You can only vote 5 if you have 4 and 5. Where's 19? 21. All right, let's see where we are. Okay. So we're really averaging towards the 3. now I'm getting to the heart of what matters to all of you, money, right? This is a finance crowd. People always say, well, how much should I budget for IT? And finally, we actually did some analysis and we're putting numbers to it. There are exceptions all over the place. Netflix spends way more than 6% of their operating budget on technology. You know, and there are exceptions all over the place. But generally, do you view technology as the annoying expense that's going to rear its ugly head? Do you say, well, we invest in technology? Or do you say, this is how we are going to differentiate ourselves from every other company that does the same thing we do? This is it, we're betting on it, we're all in. So we'll open up polling here. The numbers really are, you know, if you're, I generally say 2.5 million to every 50 is a good gauge for what companies that are growing and scaling and going up that curve, that's probably what they're investing in.
You
Yes.
have the wrong question. We have one lag on the question, and if you can push it forward.
Yeah,
So
so
you do?
Yep.
just take a look at the screen and vote with those numbers, and well, we should get caught up.
What, okay. Sorry about that, thanks
No,
for
it just
letting me
came up
know.
this time.
Yeah. Has it been like that the whole time?
Just the last council.
No, just let's go, okay. So yeah, vote for this question, and we'll see what it... Okay, good. Good. So the investment is there. I mean, I'm glad to see that 6 companies in this room are at that point.
I just
Yeah.
got one other question.
Sure.
When you say IT,
Mhm.
we define IT as more network infrastructure as opposed to our products and services as
Yes.
technology is development. We don't consider those IT.
Yes, yes.
So is
So
this
that's what
IT?
I'm talking about, the gridiron stuff. I'm talking about just the way you define it. It's the keeping everything up and running. It is the security. It is the underlying, you know, this is not the innovation you're doing on your plan. This is not the idea, right? This is not your transformational idea. This is the networking, the equipment, the hardware, the connections, the redundancy, the labor, the security people, the security products, all that stuff. Okay. Actually, at YJT, you'll be glad to know, I'm not going to go through all of our questions. This is the last one. We have 22 of these that we really run through at YJT, and I can already tell, like, I don't know how to make this more exciting, but but what is, I think this is one of the most important things in your company. This is you know, don't build all this IT infrastructure, so make it the most amazing skyscraper structure if you're not going to actually go do something with it and build some cool office and do something great out there in the world, right? Do you have representation at the C level? You know, is your CEO saying, who is obsessed with what's going out there in the world in the way of technology? What are other companies doing? We need to hear it. And who in your company is going to do, now, some of you have technology reporting to you, and that's great as long as you have the vision of that skyscraper, right, in your head. You're going, this is what we could build. That's great, that's what I'm talking about. But I've also been in organizations where they don't call him a CIO, but the equivalent of the CIO reports to the CFO, and the CFO is going, okay, now for next year's budget, I want you to start with last year's budget, and it would be really great if you could, I don't know, get a couple % off that, and we need to justify every line, right? If you're operating in that mentality without a vision for where you're going and what you're building, then I don't think it's good, right? So this is about the function of the person who has the CEO's ear. Is that there in your company? So let's open polling. It probably says the last question now, huh? You know, what could you be doing with this technology? What could you be doing if you weren't doing it like this? If you had to produce what you were producing in a new age where you were selling across the globe? You know, maybe to Mars in 10 years, you know, who knows, right? But the possibilities are there. And are you thinking about that? Okay, let's see where we are. All right. There you go. So not terrible, right? But maybe a little room for improvement. And the point I want to make is that this is a journey, right? Netflix did not get there overnight. They didn't just say, oh yeah, I want to be that company that distributes, I don't know, good bazillion amounts of data per second globally, right? This did not just get born. But what is what's the driver in your company? You know, can it be you? Can you be that voice that says, guys, we need to be there. We need to go there. And, you know, this is a journey. And let's get a roadmap with steps that make good sense to get us going on this journey so that, this goes back to the so that you'll be able to innovate and scale. Like I said, we have 22 factors that I genuinely love this stuff, and as you can hopefully tell, and I love talking about it. And you know, we're coming up on cocktails, so I'm going to quit talking about it. But I would love to just sit down and talk with any of you about this subject, or go through an evaluation with you and your companies. I'm not pushy, I'm not going to be pushy, but I just like talking about it, and I like being out there, especially in Chicago, right? We're a Chicago company, and I want to see Chicago companies move and scale. So you can email me, that's my email. And if you just even email me right now from your cell phones that are out before, I would love to just sit down and talk with you about this. Thank you so much.
So as finance-oriented people, do anyone have any questions or kind of icebreakers as to how you adapt from the cost side to the function side? If I don't see anyone, Linda, I would ask you. You talk with a lot of finance folks. I'm sure your top clients are CFOs and the like.
They are.
How do you get them going to get out of the spend less than last year mode and what I want to accomplish mode?
Yeah, I think that's not something I can convince people of, right? I mean, hopefully I can inspire you a little bit or move the needle. But you know, this is bigger than it. If we will probably not be a good fit for a company that's going, you know, this is not, IT is not that important to us, right? Because it's a mindset of the executive leadership team. And this is not always age either. I have seen some older executives that totally get it. There was a guy, you know, in his late 60s who said to me, I am waking up because I am so scared about where our company is going to be in 10 years. He's like, I see it starting and we are going downhill. You know, and it's that kind of like wake up call. I don't know. I don't even really have a good answer. It's just, I just think it's, somebody said to me one time, he did videos, and he said, look, I am not going to convince you need videos on your website. And he said, if you don't know that already, I don't even want to talk to you. And I sometimes feel that way about IT. Like, if you don't know how critical this is to your success, then, you know, but the people in this room do get it, from, as you can tell from the scores. Anything else? Any questions? Yes.
Do you have an example with one of your clients where
you went through all the effort to get them IT operationally ready, and then subsequent to that, they saw some kind of growth, or they unfolded in some way where
I
you
do.
could
I have
realize.
lots of those stories. And it is one of my joys about what I do, is seeing that happen. Some of our clients we can't talk about, but one I can talk about is Golub Capital. They're one of our clients. They're actually on our website. They said they would never do a case study, and then after we were there for a while, the CIO, Sue, she said, we've earned this. So she actually did a case study, but they started as an $11 billion debt asset management firm. And it was Sue saying, like, I am spending my time on this stupid stuff, right? I am spending my time not doing the things that are going to move this business forward. She's like, I'm in the weeds, I can't get out, I'm a freaking CIO, and I am still getting pulled into issues and operational things and things that are going down. So we partnered with them, and they're now a $33 billion organization. Now, that's not because they hired us, right? It's because they did something with that, and it came through one day, about a year after we had started working with them. It came through as a ticket, because we insist that everything is documented, everything's a ticket. And she said, please remove me from the support distribution list. I was like, yay, right? I mean, that's what we're after, right? So that her time can get spent on forward-thinking things, their CRM system, linking their CRM system to mobile tablets that are in the field when they're talking to a prospect. Like, that's the exciting stuff. Like, oh gosh, we're meeting with you. I realized that you had this and this and all these links and things they can do. I mean, those things can't get built if you're on your iPhone looking at what's going down.
What exactly does YJT Solutions do? Obviously you help them assess their technology, direction, and needs. Do you then offer services beyond that, and what kind of services do you offer?
Okay, you have to tell everybody you are not a plant, right? Because I really do just love the subject in general, but yeah, so YJT Solutions is an IT managed services company. And I sometimes feel like we're selling used cars because IT managed services has such a crummy name. Like it's just like there are wonderful used car people out there. There are some crummy ones, and but we want to be the highest end, highest quality, 24/7 IT managed services firm. So what do? We have people. We're like 7-Eleven. We never close. You can come by LaSalle and Adams on the 38th floor. There's always someone in our office, and it's a network engineer, not a ticket taker. We have 24/7 help desk, so at 2 in the morning, if you're at home and you're up working, as more people are than you would believe in your organizations. You might think, we don't need 24/7 support, and I'll show you how many people call us from their home because something isn't working, or they can't get a file, or they deleted a file, and they need it back, and whatever that is. We keep them up and running 24/7, monitoring and management of infrastructure, making sure connectivity is there so that you can transact, right? And then we have a partnership with eCentire, which is a 24/7 cybersecurity. They're level 1 and 2, right, just as we were talking about earlier. And then they feed into our senior people for the NOC side. So 24/7, you're covered on the inside and the outside. And then we help people with road mapping, try to help people go to the cloud, figure out which cloud makes sense. But thank you for asking.
Thank you very much.